Okay, Daniel. We are the Blood Tribe Advocacy Group, and we're talking today about corporation structures of the reserve, and we want to share informations of the research that we have done. And then to begin the 10 o'clock meeting, the meeting will be recorded, and at the same time, will be put on the website, also on our webpage, on our Facebook page. So here is Makuina, former Chief Crochet.
Thank you, Roger. My comments on this are going to be brief. It's just a quick overview of my interpretation of some of the events that are occurring in the Blood Tribe community, with our leaders. Now, my question goes back to the original authority of a chief and council, like in our case. The Indian Act was the authority that flowed from the Minister of, back in the day, called Indian Affairs now. That authority to run the reserves was a delegated authority from the minister's office to all chiefs and councils across Canada. Now, and their accountability for the programs that they're administering is back to the minister's office. So in actuality, they are more accountable to the minister's office than to the membership. But then now I question, in December the 15th, 2022, the existence of the Indian Act officially was over, with the new framework agreements in place. And as a First Nation community member and others that I've shared this, we don't have any knowledge of this, no paperwork, no consultation, nothing to come to us, so that this authority for chief and council, that they are with the rightful authority to go ahead and go into this. I do know during my tenure as a chief that the First Nations Land Management Act came out, but that was required through a referendum, and that never occurred in our community. We never had a referendum on the First Nations Land Management Act. And now it's come back under a disguise as under this framework agreement. And this is always an issue with me when the government, namely the Indigenous Services, as it's called now, they don't communicate with. They only communicate with the chief in some cases. And of course, we don't know what's going on. So we're being pushed into a situation, and the problems we're having now today, I believe, are going to grow in which will be defined in future events that might occur, because we had a council and the trustees had a community meeting, information meeting, where they talked the Blood Tribe timber limits, and there was an outburst of young people upset about no communication, no accountability, no transparency, no financial audited statements from the trust accounts, nothing was being provided for us. So is this a sign of things to come? Is this new framework agreement going to allow them continue operating like that? I question that. And of course, I've tried to phone personally. I've tried to phone the Regional Office of Indigenous Affairs in Edmonton, leaving my number for someone to phone back. My cell phone is always on, and that's the number I gave them. I haven't, I've tried several times, and so I quit trying. 2 months ago, I quit trying. I get the hint. They don't want to talk to us. They don't want to talk. The only ones they will talk to are the ones that are bending over backwards to accommodate government by going into this. It appears to me that there's no more accountability in there. Well, there's a serious breach in all levels of fiduciary responsibility of the minister's office, of our chief and counsel. They have a fiduciary duty too. So then we get into these all these corporations that were formed. Roger and his team, they went through and did a lot of research on this. And during their research, we've even had at one point, which he will be presenting, by the way, we even had at one point one of our corporations all of a sudden was registered in Vancouver, in BC. And next thing you know, it's back in Alberta and back in BC. It's almost as if someone is trying to lose someone tracking them. Why? I don't know. All previous previous corporations that were developed there, they're always on the reserve here. Of course, it had to be situated outside of Calgary in the lawyer's office. But that's the point. They're no longer, they're just bouncing all over the place. So those are questions that need to be answered. So in the end, what we are trying to do is inform our people and other tribes to question the authority. If there's no more Indian Act, and if we and Blood Tribe, we voted under the Indian Act, there should have been a new election happening under this new framework agreement. There should be a new chief and council, because if we have voted for them under the Indian, even though they call it band custom election bylaw, but that bylaw still would not exist if it was not part of the Indian Act. So do we still have a band custom election bylaw? We probably need some legal advice on that. So with that, I just wanted to end off there, and I leave it with Roger and his team to have a pretty good research on this, and they'll lead you right through each area. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Makuyina. Thank you. Okay, makaisto. Kita pe sa tao tapis.
Are you able to hear me?
Yep,
Well, Roger.
I could hear you. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, just a little under the weather with this cold, and I started getting interested in these the structure of the blood reserve and how all the council, chief and council in their campaigns came out and practically begged you to vote for them because they supported businesses, employment, new housing, help people get into treatment, create this employment, strongly support farming, and yet I was charged for farming without a permit by Councillor Al Blackwater. Al Blackwater, Myron Eagle Speaker, Frankie Blackplume, and my relative Elliot Fox, who was at the time the lands director, who was later fired for taking a bribe. Second of all, right after they took my crop, what does Mr. Blackwater do? He gets into farming, ranching, big construction while he's in council for 4 years. That kind of operation took me 30 years to do that. So basically what I'm saying is, when these guys get in council, there's a lot of false promises. They break the law by lying, cheating. You know, there's a lot of conflict of interest. You have people in positions that don't even understand them, and that's why our tribal administration goes broke. We have people that aren't showing up to work. And yet these corporations allow it to happen because some of them are the shareholders. Excuse me. So when taking over this reserve, a lot of people came to me and says, "Why did they take your crop?" I told them I was charged for farming without a permit. Well, if that was the case, I'm a fourth generation farmer. Why didn't the three generations before me get arrested like I did and get charged? Had over $1 million worth of grain, and they took it. They gave it to a farmer who had no permit to be here, Section 28, 1 and 2. So these are the kind of promises in the campaigns they've given people. We will stand behind you, but what do? They come behind you and stab you. That's what I feel these corporations are doing. And some of them, the last several of them, we don't know who they are. But the way I figured out all the funding coming in, those three corporations are going to get that money. And I do believe they're individually owned. If people would look at the documents we have put out, it'll tell you who's in charge and running the show here. It ain't the people, but it's administration. So we wrote a letter. Roger and I will explain that letter. And that's why, I don't want to say much about the Cowan Plow because it's still in court. One counselor addressed it and said it was resolved. It wasn't. They had the opening meeting for the blood reserve number 148A, the mountains. And at this meeting, one counselor got up and says, "Oh, we have resolved the first mismanagement of assets. We resolved the Cowan Plow. Now we want to resolve the 148A." But when you go back to the mismanagement of assets, first the balance of that money. A lot of that money they gave a distro out. 50% of that 150 million came to 75 million, entitling the members at least $5,000 each. They gave out a 2,000 distro, and what happened to the rest, we don't know. They won't show you the financial statements. They have stories and they have things they say that they have done. And this went to this project, this project, this project, and this project. But nobody knows because the projects that are being run out here are run by a colored man named Albert Toggle. And he seems to have more power than even council because he answers to administrator. And I'll mention her name because it's the truth. There's Counselor Dorothy and Nadine, good striker tail feathers. Those are the two people that seem to be running the reserve. Now, Nadine, I don't know what position she's in, but I've met with her several times, and she has not been very truthful to me, especially on raising payment. I won't get into that. Now, the bottom line is who is running our reserve? There's too many committees. I talked to one counselor and he says, "Don't talk to me, go to this guy, I'm not on your committee." And then I talked to the counselor and he says, "Well, I went to go talk to these guys." He says, "Don't talk to me either, I'm not on your committee." Or "You're not on my committee," vice versa. They just bounce around. So in doing all this research and putting together the truthful facts here, it'll expose a lot of things. And it's not the information to slander, to get after people on there. The top of the letter, the final draft says, "without prejudice." Now we have legal lawyers here that we're paying a lot of money. So why aren't they giving our tribe good advice? Why have they been here on federal land when they're provincial lawyers? We've never seemed to have won a case with them. They just seem to keep putting people in litigation after litigation. If you try to talk to your counsel, they'll come and serve you with some made-up charge and say you're excuse my language, but they say you're a shit disturber. And that's basically what all of us are to these counselors, shit disturbers, because we interfere with their spending. Now, if you were to get the financial statements, and so far we've seen some of their spending, I've never seen an alderman make over $180,000 a year. Because basically that's what chief and council are. You're under the Minister of Indian Affairs. So in these corporations, there's millions of dollars floating around that our tribal members could benefit. A lot of these guys, like Albert Colgo's taken away to work. He pays probably under the table. That's just the way things are. That's the way all reserves are run. There's been documentaries going up all over the reserve First Nations across Canada that the money under the table works better for them than actually hiring your own people. So in getting down to the bottom of it, I do believe, as being a fourth generation farmer, a lot of this has to do with the land. They want to become self-government. They don't even know what they're doing. Right now, some of them say they're sovereign. They don't know what sovereignty is, because it starts with our treaty rights, and our chief and council are not protecting them. They got dollar signs in their eyes. But what about the people on the street dying, starving? You go to Cardston, Lethbridge, Fort McLeod, Pincher Creek Standoff, Laverne. You see all these people just bent over because they're addicted to fentanyl. And we've lost generation already. The children are orphans. They get older, they're gone too, because now I know a lot of people on the reserve that are dead from overdosing. So what is chief and council doing about this? Well, they're too busy adjusting and moving their corporations around. And then you've had this 150 million from the cow and plow. What were they going to do with that money? There's no transparency. People are asking these counselors, what are you guys doing? I'm late for a meeting. Here's my number. Call me. Well, you call any one of these guys. You don't even get an answering machine on some of them. If you write a letter or text them or give them an email, it goes to somebody that calls that information. If they don't like that information, they scrap it. Because I don't feel chief and council should be passing the buck and telling Nadine Tailfeathers to tell those guys we can't meet with you. We voted for them, not her. I don't know what position she's in or what her entitled job is. But the bottom line is these guys will not talk to her. But come election, they're your cousin's brother. Hey, sister, here's $5. I'll help you. Don't worry about it. I'll find you a house. All the good BS in the world comes out. I didn't know I had so many relatives on election nomination day. But the bottom line is when they get in, they turn their back and they say, well, the last council did this. We will do the same. Well, why did you get into council? Well, I got elected. Just because you put on a $3,000 Armani suit, become a counselor, doesn't make you rocket scientists, because a lot of these guys do not have the foggiest idea of the infrastructure, construction, housing, public works, farming, land, etc., etc. It's just the same people that get in, and a lot of them that have been in there for years benefit the most, including their families. So these corporations, there's many of them, and they're scary because we're accounting for them. Right now, like Trish tried to get some information on financial statements, they said go to a lawyer. Oh, go back to chief and council, but those financial statements say prepared for the Blood Tribe, chief and council, and band members. So if us band members can't ask for anything, then so why do we need to vote them in? They need us, so why can't we go to them and ask them one simple question? Where are the statements? What are they hiding? What happened to the casino? The referendum vote on that money is still on land that isn't even turned into Blood Indian land. It was supposed to, acres claimed. Now, I'm just wondering, I do a lot of homework. I worked in realty, I owned Fox Trucking, I ran crude oil, I farmed, I ranched, and yet they took all that away from me because I was a shit disturber. All I did was mind my business, hire people. I built the irrigation, the $62 million irrigation, most of it with my equipment, scrapers, track hose, and I had a lot of people working for me many years out there, including the Old Man River Dam and the St. Mary's Spillway and all the oil leases on throughout southern Alberta. I worked for Bona Vista, hauled oil for Plains Marketing. I owned my own trucks, hauled gravel for the community, the MD, other construction. So I had a lot of people working for me because I didn't pay this one jerk under the table certain amount of dollars. They took my farming away from me. That 25 grand under the table ruined a lot of jobs for all these people I had hired, and they stole my crop. I tried to stop them. The Blood Tribe police got involved. They breached their policing policies, and they're not supposed to be involved with civil. They're supposed to ask questions, not shoot. They shot their mouths off and told me you're going to jail if you continue being a shit disturber. And I told them who told you to say these kind of things. Well, I'm working for chief and council. They're not supposed to serve and protect us, not take bribes, because that's what it seems like. Anyways, I'm going to make it short now. When I mention it's about the land, they want to collect all the land and make as much money off of it as possible. And if we do become a municipality, I do believe, according to other sources that I've spoken to, that means anybody can come here and buy the land. We pay taxes. They're not telling us anything. They just think self-government means they're going to continue being the big boss. The way it's set up with the government, they want to decimate us. They want us to go extinct like they did with the tuberculosis and smallpox infected blankets. They're happy that that's the silent solutions. Let those Indians get stoned as hell and addicted. And counselors, you're doing a wonderful job. What are they doing for our people? Nothing. You look at that treatment center. Once they get in there, they're good for 28 days. And when they get out, what do they have? No jobs, no homes, no hope. So I'm going to end that note on that note. It's all about the land too, the money, the big payouts, and the treaty rights that people need to not understand. These are your rights. You better darn well fight for them because that's what we're doing. We're trying to save our people. With the treaty gone, who are we? Right now, you go down to the park in Lethbridge, Bolt Gardens. That's where they want our treaty rights to end. Right there, the same way the people are living there on the streets, homeless, dying, left and right. Wake up, can I? Thank you.
Thank you, Makaisto. And then, so what we'll be doing is I'll be doing the next presentation. And then for the people who came on, that have come on to the Zoom meeting, then I'll open that for if you have anything to say. And then we'll wait for the end of my presentation. Then we'll open for further discussions. Okay, okay. So I'm going to begin. I'm going to share my screen. And then I'm going to go into where is it again? Whiteboard. It's right there, corporations. Okay. So if you guys could you guys unmute your the videos that you guys have so I could see your pictures all over my presentation. So you guys could see it also and then go from there. All right, and I'll move myself right over here. There we go. Okay, first of all, we would like to have please excuse us for for some typo errors and we did all this work on our own behalf. We didn't hire a professional writer. We just did it to show the people that we could do what the how the writing skills are. And at the same time, this will be posted on the on our kind of Blood Tribe Advocacy webpage, Facebook, and it'll be posted on YouTube to go national for other reserves to see what we're doing. Again, I'm a Butskinai. I'm an elder. I am an elder teacher for the Sacred Horn Society, and I'm privileged to be working with Makuyin, our former chief, and my brother here, my Stu Eugene Fox. Again, we've been branded to be shit disturbers, but I do believe the people that brand are the ones that are on a take. We're only voicing our concerns for the people. So we'll begin on this. We concluded this file on November 9th, 2023 report. And what we believe to be is on our leadership is a breach of fiduciary duty, constructive fraud, theft, conversion of blood tribe assets, unjust enrichment, and or equitable disgorgement, restitution, and no consultations. These are very strong words in the court of law, but at the same time, what they're doing to us is exactly what we're saying here. So at the same time, I will begin within the corporation structures. What again, we historically speaking, going back in time, this is what was proposed in the 1969 white paper on Indian policy. No Aboriginal title, land registry like in Australia. This fits with the 9 modern treaties in British Columbia, self-government agreements, land codes, and delegated taxation authority. A template for the rest of Canada. Once the rest of the provinces get on board, BC government is proposing to bring forward legislation for government consideration to enable First Nations who are recognized as legal entities under the federal law to acquire, hold, and dispose of lands and register their interests in the land title office, provincial land title office process. And on June 17, 2021, this information came out and it states, in 2017, Indigenous and Northern Affairs Canada INAC was dissolved and replaced by 2 new departments, the Crown Indigenous Relations and Northern Indigenous Service Canada. And so basically, we were not notified of the change. The grassroots people were not notified, but our leaderships were probably notified, but they didn't do their due diligence or fiduciary obligations to tell us. So on the blood reserve, this is what Eugene was saying. Where does it begin? Where does it end on these corporations? In our research, here is the beginning of the corporations of the Federal Blood Reserve number 148 as a blood tribe Schedule D corporations, July 8, 2008. Contains 38 corporations, includes limited number, FIN, LP, Inc., Society, etc. Eugene Creighton takes credit for establishing above excerpts from article titled Corralling Alternative Justice. The C link below. Creighton spent 8 years, 1986-1994, as an in-house counsel to the Blood Tribe. He focused on creating systems in which the people of a nation provided service to each other and run successful businesses. Creighton embraced the whole idea that First Nations in Canada be allowed to take over their educational programs. He created societies, arm's length entities, and corporations controlled by boards, allowing the First Nation councils to deal with the critical issues of treaty negotiations. Quote, I designed the Blood Tribe education system, he says. I created legal entities, created a school board, and applied to the minister to transfer jurisdiction to the school board. To see article above this is the link that we have. So from this article, we, the Blood Tribe Advocacy Group, understand the approach, and in the essence is an approach to give more control over resources such as education, etc., to the First Nations, rather than outside entities such as the federal government or non-First Nations. From our discussions, there may be a conflict of interest or other issues when the chief and council members are on the board and are majority board members, thus have majority control. This is our opinion. We think with the like how we mentioned on the BT members should be on board of the directors rather than council members. This is a serious conflict. Right now, all chief and councils, as you will see, when I get to the corporations, they're major players within the process. So these are the what you call it, the scheduled decorporations going back to July 8th from the Blood Tribe. If you take a look at number one, Alberta Limited, they're all limited organizations. They're affiliated KRI to Blood Tribe Economic Development, affiliated with Blood Tribe Economic Development 5, BTAP, Lease Co Phase 1, 6, Alberta Limited, also referred to as BTAP Phase 1 New Co. And number 7, Alberta Limited, also known as Blood Band Ranch. And number 8, Alberta Limited, also known as a trailer court affiliated with BTAP. As you could see how they're starting to kind of spread out on an umbrella control. And then Alberta Limited, also referred to as BTAP Phase 2 New Co, BTAP Lease Co Phase 3, BTAP Phase 3 New Co, and BTAP Lease Co Phase 4. And then the trailer courts affiliated with with KDL. And number 15, the Alberta Limited, referred to as BTAP, it goes again to Phase 4 New Co. Then number 16, Hay Plant. Number 17, Manufactured Homes Park. And then number 19, Time Co Phase 4. At the same time, Phase 6 New Co. And 21 this is when the KRI Blood Oil and Gas Limited partnerships was developed. Again, 22, the Blood Band Farms, Blood Oil and Gas Limitation Partnership, affiliated with this number here is a big part of KRI as to where the corporation structure went to. Blood Tribe BTAP Irrigation Project 1991, Protection Services, Department of Health, Kaina Agribusiness Corporations, Kaina Community Correction Services, Kaina Education Society, Kaina Food Bank, Kaina Bottled and Recycling Depot Society, and Children's Service Corporations number 32, 33 Development Limited, and these are struck. St. Mary's Construction Company Limited and St. Mary's Project Limited. They said 38. These 36, I really dug deep, but I couldn't find a 36, 37, 38. These must be personal endeavors, wholly owned enterprises that basically affiliate with tribes' money. That's what I'm guessing. But again, I'm just guessing at this point. But this just to show you, those are 38 corporations. So that was then of the corporation process, how it started. Then on number 1, the band custom selections bylaw. I believe this is how it's done across Indian country in order to go through the corporation process, but we're all following. The Blood Tribe Chief Roy Fox served as chief from 1980 to 1996. When the term began in 1982, the then Chief and Council made recommendations to accept the band custom selections bylaw. There is no notification on first, second, and third readings, or a vote by the people for ratification. The Blood Tribe membership was not consulted by leadership for a vote. The recommendations, chief and council, and lawyer advisors. Then I was just advised there was Welch. Well, there's a lawyer firm that was before Welch. That was when they were the ones that make the recommendations. Okay, so the Blood Tribe members were not consulted by leadership for a vote. And then the chief and council and lawyers advisors agreed the authority is from INAC. The quorum agreed to begin the ban customs elections bylaw open, and if no Blood Tribe members come forward to stop the proceedings, the statute of limitations will go forward and be bylaw. There was no consultation with Blood Tribe members or a vote to accept the ban customs elections bylaw. It came from INAC down to the leadership. The people did not have a voice and did not know membership and did not know the membership and no longer had a voice. It seemed that at this present date and time, the Blood Tribe custom system is designed to protect Blood Tribe chief and council, outside advisors, investors, and to distinguish our treaties. So that process began in 1982. So the people did not have a voice from 1982 down. And number two, the ban customs elections bylaw section 10.6 states, the Blood Tribe shall have the power to require the productions of any evidence, including the productions of any documents and attendance of any witnesses in its deliberations. The decision of the Blood Tribe Council shall be rendered within 10 days of the date of the regular meeting at which the deliberations took place, and if no decision has been reached within such time limit, the petition would be deemed to be refused by Blood Tribe Chief and Council pursuant to subsection 10.0401. This is a breach of rights. There is no transparency and accountability to protect our BT members' rights and the people's rights. So basically, that's what they're using now. This is why they're saying they are, I guess, Chief and Council is supreme. Okay, number three. Recognitions of rights discussion tables. The Blood Tribes attend for recognition of rights discussion tables to relinquish the Treaty 7 to become a provincial numbered corporations, which was in the early 1990s, was accepted by Chief and Council before the election, a later failed kind of government agreement. Final agreement, ratification vote, 2012 to stop self-government process. And here's the link that we have here. So number four, Roy Fox was elected in 2016. The discussions began again in 2017, and the milestone was on July the 5th, 2018. The parties signed a memorandum of understanding on reconciliation. It will take 5 years, July the 5th, 2023. We are aware that in 2018, Roy Fox signed agreements and there was an MOU discussions with the BTE members, and Chief and Council is moving forward with Indigenous partners on different paths toward reconciliations, including a recognition of rights discussion tables. It will take 5 years to get to the table to begin the provincial jurisdictions and relinquish Blood Tribe Treaty 7, and have been completed now. July the 5th, 2023 was the 5th year to get off the recognition tables to begin for the final vote. Here is a letter we wrote to the recognition of rights and discussions of tables here. So then at the same time, this is the link here. So on February 13th, after we wrote that letter to Chief and Council, on February 13th, Chief and Council turned down the Blood Tribe Advocacy Group's request, for which are listed below. We are seeking on behalf of the Sovereign Blood Tribe people. On behalf of the Sovereign Blood Tribe people, we are seeking an audience with the Blood Tribe Council on March 16th in standoff council chambers with Roger Perchkin, Eugene Fox, and 5 Blood Tribe elders to let the people know why they are pushing the Blood Indian nations to relinquish treaty rights. That any potential final agreement requires a referendum by members of the Blood Tribe to be ratified in a vote by the Sovereign Blood Indian Nation members' existence. A letter of guarantee to have a standalone vote on the Blood Indian Nations treaty rights on the agreement of the recognition tables for eligible voters with no other trust agreements placed under the vote without the people's knowledge. For example, final agreements and trust agreements are separate matters. I'll give you an example. When we voted for some of the like 148A. Okay, we vote for the money, yes. And by voting yes, they automatically include the trust agreement where chief and council handles the money. And that is illegal. We should have another vote on who handles the money and who gets the money. It's the people's money. And then we also ask no voting tabulator to be used. It must be done manually with outside bonded elections, officers independent to other Treaty 7 First Nation bands. Sikshikai Nation, Piikani Nation, independent to the Blood Tribe Chief and Council, lawyers, advisors, and kind of government agreement. There should be no Treaty 7 members within the organization. It has to be total outsiders to control the vote. So that would be transparentable and accountable, for the people, for the voters. Okay, and the reasons Chief and Council are relinquishing the succession to be declaration of elders of the Blood Tribe Indian Nations. We have a declaration that stands like the Chief and Council work for the people, and at the same time, they all swore due diligence to protect their Blood Tribe land. But now, the Sikshikai Declaration of Elders of the Blood Indian Nations. We are no longer a voice. They won't even look at us. They won't even answer as to what's happened to the tribe. So, request to meet that. This is the letter that we wrote, and this is the response we got. Number 6, request to meet with council denied. This is from Nadine Tailfeathers. It was dated February 27, 2023, 9:38 a.m. to prairiechickenraj@gmail.com. Subject, request to meet Chief and Council, March 16, 2023. This is the second contact. And then I'll just read the letter. It says, Dear Mr. Prairie Chicken, I have been requested by Blood Tribe Chief and Councilors to respond to your February 13th, 2023 letter, wherein you were seeking an audience with council and respect to certain allegations required the recognition of Indigenous rights and self-determination. We can advise you that your concerns were addressed directly in a communique to all Blood Tribe members, firstly in May of 2019, and again the beginning of February 2023. The link to this information is this link here. And his rights and self-determination communique February 2nd, 2023. You are encouraged to review the documents for accurate information. Your request to meet Chief and Council on these matters has been denied given the current actions that you have taken against Council in the federal court. It is felt all communications of this sort goes through our respective legal counsel. We trust you will conduct yourself accordingly. So just like what I will echo what Eugene said is, they call us shit disturbers, but we have rights. We are advocating for the people, and this is the advocacy we're doing. It's about one thing. It's about many things. So this is where they are basically, I guess you could I would call that a criminal act, a CC criminal act. 7, at the present date and time, the Blood Tribe custom system is designed to protect the Blood Tribe Chief and Council and outside advisors and to distinguish the treaty rights. Here begins the corporate registration updates of the government of Alberta. My colleagues and I, we have done a lot of investigations, and we have done a lot of research. We have paid a lot of money for research papers and everything, but it's something that we have to do to gain back that accountability process that our people need, and not with the with the Indian leaderships to be supreme people around controlling our monies. It's our money. It's our land. Number 1. The Blood Tribe is in the province of Alberta and provides assorted services to its members, includes the tribe members, government, and all related entities. accountable to the first to the tribes and are either owned or controlled by the blood tribe. The blood tribe is exempt from tax under Section 149 of the income tax law. And that's a very important part of why these corporations are coming on board. The blood tribe business enterprises that are owned The blood tribe business enterprises that are owned or controlled by the blood tribe council and that are not dependent on the blood tribe for their continuing operations are included in the consolidated financial statements using the modified equity method. In most cases, are not reported to the people. So at the same time, here is the consolidated report of 2021. 2022 came out, but now 2023 has not come out. They're still withholding the evidence. Just like Chris had mentioned, he had asked for the consolidated report. He was told that they're still working on it, but at the same time, I guess we have to go through tribal government in order to access that information, but we're being denied that information at this point. So the reporting entities of the tribe, if you take a look at them under the consolidated reports, the Blood Tribe Administration, Red Crow, Department of Health, Recreation, Economic Development, Revenue Funds, Employment Skills, Social Development, Family and Community Support Service, Education Society, Kind of Manufactured Homes, First Nations Development Fund, Acres Claim, School Bus Co-op, Blood Band Housing Authority, Children's Services, Indian Band Housing Authority, Kaina Development Limited, Blood Tribe Lands, Kaina Resources Inc., and Blood Tribe Services, Blood Tribe Kaina World War II Bombing, and Gunnery Range, and then Blood Tribe Public Works, and the Gunnery Range again, Claim Trust, Blood Tribe Real Estate, and this is that what you call our oil revenue monies here, and service of the National Culture Center and Kainai Marketplace. So these are what we got out of the consolidated statements. They're called wholly owned blood tribe investments. So that number that I showed you, 97145 Alberta Limited, and then 11034. 40 Alberta Limited, and Acres Monies. These are all corporate numbers. And then the Blood Tribe Oil and Gas KRI, Blood Tribe Agriculture Project, Kaina Housing Corporation, St. Mary's Constructions. These are what we'll show you in this investment of what we have done. So basically, here is the Blood Ban Corporation searches by date of 2023. Okay, the legal entity was date of search of 2023, November 17th at 9:49 a.m. We did a search on Blood Tribe Agriculture Project 1991. The directors of this is Roy Fox, Kirby Many Fingers, Traveler Plaited Hair, Ring Lynn, and Henry Shade. The voting shares is 100% Blood Tribe Agriculture Business Trust. President is Roy Fox. Vice President is Traveler Plaited Hair. Secretary is Treasurer is Kirby Many Fingers. So at the same time, the shareholders, there should be Blood Tribe here, membership, there's nothing there. So these guys, it's called a wholly owned businesses, wholly owned Blood Tribe Investments. It means they are running the show. They're ones that are benefiting, and we're not even getting advised as to where the money is going. And then the next one is the Blood Tribe Child Protection Service Corporations. Again, the ones are the directors are Floyd Bighead, Winston Day Chief, Mickey Day Ryder, Marcel Weaselhead. Again, it is 100% wholly owned. Blood Tribe Child Protection Vice President Floyd Bighead, and the secretary is Mickey Day Ryder. The treasurer is Mickey Day Ryder, and the chair is Marcel Weaselhead. President is Marcel Weaselhead. Again, the shareholders, nothing, and partners, there's nothing there. So it's 100, it's their own private owned business, let's put it that way. And this one here is the Blood Tribe Department of Health. The search was done on November 17th, 2023. Geraldine Eagle Speaker, Rod First Rider, Martin Heavyhead, and again, Martin Heavyhead, this is, and then John J. Little Bear, Maria Russell, Pinocchio and Tail Feathers, Charles Weaselhead. It's 100% trust for the Blood Tribe. So basically, it's also run like their own businesses. And here is there was a number that showed up here. Holding shares of this number here. I did a check on it. This is struck. It's no longer available. That's why it's in the red. So we don't know as to there's no direct financial statements that come out of these things for the people to see what's happening in the health department. Again, it's their own private business again. So at the same time, kind of Education Society. Date of search was 2023, November 17th at 9:57 a.m. Name history is the Blood Tribe Education Society, Kainai Education Society, and the directors are Mike Bruised Head, Charlene Bruised Head, Mountain Horse, Cynthia Many Fingers, and Lionel Weaselhead. And take a look at this thing. I asked for where the percent shares was at, but they told me this is how it's registered. So basically, this is I guess under advisement, I'm not supposed to say certain words, but this is probably a personal business, a profit for these individuals. Okay, at the same time, that number that we talked about that was interesting that kept coming into my head was 971445 Alberta Limited. It's wholly owned, and and the directors are Roy Fox and Doug Singer. It's 100% chief and trust for the Blood Tribe. It means these two are the registered owners. And 15929 Alberta Limited. This is another, I think, would be another number that they kind of like. This is where they start flowing money into different accounts. And then the last one is the Blood Oil and Gas Limited Partnership. See this number here. So we'll be going back to this number when you get into the minerals and the oil on the searches. So now we're going to count Kainai Housing Corporations. I was wondering why, just like what Eugene was saying, like all the people who are flocking to Lethbridge and the cities living off the reserve, we had a bit of a lot of people were saying they paid for their houses, but Chief and Council made a decision. They put all the houses back into rental units. And then when the opiates really got out of the roof, they did not try to find a strike 1, strike 2, strike 3, strike 4, hey, even a strike 8 to help these people, stay in their homes and go for treatment to try to resolve the issues. They were just kicking them out. So a lot of the people here in Lethbridge, I'm seeing them. They come from off reserve now, and they have no place to go back home. So at the same time, so these are the directors of the Kainai Housing Corporations: Floyd Bighead, Winston Day, Chief Mickey Day Ryder, and Marcel Weaselhead. And it's 100% chief and trust for Blood Tribe. The secretary treasurer is Floyd Bighead. The president is Winston Day Chief. Vice president is Marcel Weaselhead. And there's no trust and there's no partners in this process. So that tells you a lot to what is happening within our crisis within the housing process. So then these are struck again from the beginning. We talked about them. Samaris Construction Company is wholly owned. Samaris Project Limited wholly owned. And I believe these two corporate numbers, there was a lot of money that fell through with this department there. And then that's why they're struck. They failed to bring their financial statements to the government for justifications. Okay, now this is where that number comes in again. Date of search 2023, November 6th at 9:26 a.m. The 1592955 Alberta Limited, previous legal entity name was Kainai Energy Corp. It's wholly owned business. And guess who the directors are here? John P. Jurius, and Christine Robertson. The ones that are basically what we hear is running the Blood Tribe Irrigation Project. And at the same time, then you go into the next one here, that 971445 Alberta Limited, 50%. 50% is basically that's Roy and Doug Singer, and NARP is again John Juris and Christine Robertson. This number the jurisdiction was in British Columbia under a 1142684 BC limited number. So what that says is Roy and Doug limited 50%, NARP Blood Tribe Corp 50%, jurisdiction is BC, and the partnership is registered in British Columbia. So at the same time, these were the things that were surfacing. It seemed to me there was a bigger amalgamation of some kind of corporation structure developing from control from the outside. So then we go to Acres 1 and Acres 2. Date of search was on October 20, 2023. And as the corporate number there, it's wholly owned. And at the same time, these are the directors that are on there. Is Bob Bartlett owns 20% of the shares. Dorothy First Rider owns 20% of the shares. Traveler Platter Hero owns 20% of the shares. Maria Russell is 20%. Binakuyim Tilfitter is 20%. So basically, combining all that, what they're saying here is just now we go to the next line. Acres claim is not Blood Tribe land. They only bought the surface rights, and the rest of the mineral rights still belong to the County of Lethbridge, and is registered in the Lethbridge Irrigation Project. So at the same time, the Acres Trust monies, like it exceeded up to $59 million, and under this consolidated report, all we have is I do believe $1 million or 900,000 left, and we'll show you as we go down the road. So again, there was an irrigation notice on September 27, 1974. This property is included in the Lethbridge Northern Irrigation District trustees of the Kainai Blood Tribe. The land is not designated as BIR 148. 50% of the acres claim is 74109. And this was on September 27, 1974. This property is included with the Lethbridge Irrigation Project. So it's not even band land. And at the same time, the partner here is Bob Bartlett. And I've been researching this guy, and he's a 95-year-old man. I think I find him to be a hurricane coach or something, but I haven't found the tracking device to find out who he truly is. So now we go into the Blood Band Custom Corporate Searches of 2017. So these here, again, were the same things as today. Acres claim, the same, only at that time as Barb Bartlett, Dorothy First Rider, Martin Hibbett, Joanne Lemieux, and Henry Shade. So we go further down. Okay, and then this is kind of repetitive info right here to what we're doing. So now I'm going to go into KRI, NARP, Kainai Energy Shareholders, Holding Corp, LP Company. So again, this number here, 97145, is wholly owned by Roy Fox and Doug Singer. It's 100% interest for the tribe. And the legal entity, the shareholdings is on this number, and trade partner's name is Blood Oil and Gas Limited. So this is where they're starting to amalgamate the businesses, I guess I don't know how they're doing it, but they're coming over our treaty rates, And at the same time, then you go into the December 17th, the directors are Roy Fox, Native American. Okay, this is interesting here. Kainai directors Roy Fox, Doug Singer, and we go down one more line. Kainai KRI directors Roy Fox, Doug Singer, and now guess what? Native American Resource Partners LLC, John Juris and Christine Robertson. So at the same time, so 100% chief and trust for Blood Tribe, 50% Kainai Energy, this was signed, I do believe, in 2017. The 50% Kind Energy, David Shade, and then Native American Resource Partner LLC, Susan Hammer. So that was when I guess basically I would say we went under Native American Resources. That is who is controlling the our resources right now. So NARP Blood Tribe Holdings Limited, this is corporate number, and NARP Blood Tribe Projects Corp, and this is their number, and NARP Blood Tribe Project Funding. And these are other holding companies, BC Limited, and the Native American Resource Partners of Canada were amalgamated as one company under the Native American Resource Partners of Canada. So the Blood Tribe, right now, with what Roy has done and John Juris, they have amalgamated us with another company overall, overall superseding everything else with the mainstream. And then, so basically, I would say the land is sold. So at that point, then the partners are, the trade partner's name is Blood Tribe Oil and Gas Limited Partnership, that's their number. With Native Americans Resource Partners, NARP Blood Partnership, John Juris and Christine Robertson. The Blood Tribe has retained all its rights to royalties and payments from development of its reserve lands by industrial partners Murphy Oil and Bowood Energy. Bowood. That is just unbelievable. Date of search, again, KRI is established partnership, NARP established partnership on this date. So again, if you take a look at the the date of search again on this date, on March 14, 2011, it shows you the timeline of what my colleagues have also investigated. And these are the numbers of the Alberta Limited, previous legal entities named Kind Energy Corp, wholly owned, John Juris, Roy Fox, and Doug Singer's numbers here, and NARP is 50%. So basically, John Juris owns 50% of 50% of the corporations of the reserve. Partnership is in British Columbia, and then, one more thing, I'll before I know I'm killing this thing with these numbers, but all I'm saying is like right here. Kind of acre specific claims trust number 1 and 2. The oldest corporation on the reserve is a school bus co-op from 1966, and is still incorporated today. After the 1980s, chief and council and departments became limited corporations up to today. There has been no ratification votes for the sovereign Blood Tribe people to begin provincial involvement on federal reserves. The band submitted a claim under Canada's specific claim policy. And then at the same time, in 1995, the following negotiations entered into 2 settlement agreements with Canada. It was agreed that the Band Council used the monies to buy additional lands and that such lands could be included in the reserve, provided that the concerns of the provincial governments could be addressed. Acres 2 specifically referred to subsurface rights. Acres number 1 was silent on the subject and see paragraph 77 with respect to these lands and contemplated that they might have to be acquired from the provincial government. The band purchased surface rights to 6 parcels of land totaling 664 acres. The subsurface rights remain vested in the provincial crown portions of the subsurface rights of the purchased lands with subject coal leases and ammonite leases. So basically, acres 1, we received 2.346 million according to the consolidated statements. Acres 2 received 3.55 million for the band claims. Interest, we should have 5,901,000 annual with annual interest. And the owners are the municipality of Lethbridge, Her Majesty Queen of Alberta. So again, this is how much money we should have in there of that 5 million. But now under the consolidated statements 21-21, take a look at these numbers. Acres number 1, 2021, 626,000, and 2022, 617,000, and then acres number 2, the same thing, 424,000. So 2021, we had 1 million left, and now we have 984,000. Where'd the money go? Is that theft? Anyway, so I'll stop right there, and then I'll pass it over to Eugene.
Well, on this, it's we could go on and on and on and on. And basically, all these corporations are money makers, and the bottom line is the treaty. The treaty is supposed to protect us. The people are supposed to be protected from things like this. It all begins with transparency, and the bottom line is when you talk about that acres claim, there's another thing that I'm curious about. If it's still under the county and this piece of land is registered under certain individuals, who's paying the taxes? Us. Well, I figured out there's a lot of money supposed to be paid on taxes because it wasn't converted to reserve land. Now, the other thing I wanted to say is this, you have these counselors that go around, they have a job to work for us. But instead, they turn around and they become trustees and they handle our money. And according to the laws of Alberta, you cannot be on council and a trustee. It's a conflict of interest. So where is Joanne Crook, our lawyer? She should be advising these people, you guys are doing wrong things. She's not saying anything. She's just collecting a big salary from our tribe as our legal. And again, with all prejudice, but you look at the books, you look at the actions, you look at everything that has transpired on acres claim, anything. The hay plant, how did a guy from the United States of America come into Canada and buy federal land? That's our hay plant and control our water rights. Doesn't our treaty say as long as the rivers flow, that treaty will exist? Well, who's that water for? The people who are in that treaty, not from the United States of America, out of Texas. So, what I'm saying is, Roger, the people, they're reading this, and I'm really glad you explained it. There were some areas we missed, but would be on this, lose the attention of the people. Now, the legal team probably collects money from each and every corporation entity, and that's the way it was set up according to, the way revenue is transferred. When I go hire a lawyer to even consult 1 hour, it's free. After that, I have to pay him. Doesn't matter what the subject is, but the subject is each and every corporation. How much are they getting paid? And who set them up? That is the problem. There is no transparency. The people don't understand what we're saying until now, hopefully. What we're basically saying is we're being sold out by the people you put the X on. They're not being transparent. They won't give us the financial statements because there's a lot of discrepancies in there. And most of all, they don't care if we lose the treaty because there's a lot of money at the end of the tunnel for them. They're selling out their family, in-laws, grandkids, future grandkids, if we even get that far with the drug problem here, and they don't care. I mean, I've had issues that I'm concerned because the people aren't doing anything either. They're just sitting back thinking, well, Geeka, that guy's my cousin, he won't do it to me. Well, what has already been happening? Always been negotiating with the government. There will be nothing here. You call and all they go around and they have all these traditional powwows and all. What is the traditional now? Municipality? They're going to have a municipality powwow? Is that what they're going to call it? Wake up. I may be a critic and a shit disturber, but the thing is, I speak the truth. They took me out as a farmer. I always remind people that it's about the land. You have rights on your land. Who's to tell you that a non-legal entity like the Blood Tribe Lands Department come in and tell you you can't farm? or we're going to handle your trust money. They're a non-legal entity. Isn't there legal people telling him that? You guys are breaching and could sued or thrown in jail for fraud or for handling money that's missing. I'll give you an instance. An example. My father died in 2013. There was about 90 some odd thousand put in that account. Where is it today? It's over 10 years. They won't account for me. I was the administrator of my father's estate. They didn't even honor that. They turned around and kicked me off. They got a group of my family together and says, "Oh, hey, you're gonna get this money and all this land and go against Eugene." And yet these documents were signed by the lands director, Cloanne Wells. And it's the truth because, I mean, if anybody wants to sue me, I have the document. I presented it to the court. It's part of my affidavit. So can you sue me again twice in court when the judge already has the truth in front of him? Bottom line is, Kainai, Ganai, they have to stand up and start asking these people questions. And if they can't remember, you hired them, you can fire them. There is case law where they have, just recently, Ojibwa impeached their chief and council for doing exactly what these guys are doing, only wasn't even as bad as chief and council here on the Blood Reserve. It's minor compared to what's going on here. So let's ask for the financial statements, start asking questions. Elections coming, all of a sudden they're going to come out of their closet and use a $5 bag of groceries. Come on. Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
there's one last thing. Remember, they are agents of the crown. They're not sovereign chief or council. We are. That's why my name is Magisto. I represent my band, custom band, Many White Horses band, or even you could go to any band you want to. But I went to my family, and they understood what I'm doing, and they support me. Thank you.
Thank you, Eugene. And my conclusion statements is basically, I'll just conclude. The present Chief Roy Fox and Blood Tribe counselors on the Blood Reserve and government officials have denied financial transparency in all departments to the sovereign Blood Tribe members on treaty entitlement monies to uphold wholly owned chief and council enterprises. In most cases, there was no ratification to the Blood Tribe people to have provincial jurisdictions on the Federal Reserve, and leads to distinguishing the treaty sovereign rights and the Blood Tribe leadership's questionable investments on the trust and band funds. The First Nation corporations that are wholly owned enterprises using tribal monies, there was no ratification vote by the Blood Tribe memberships. As you are now aware of the beginnings of provincial corporations in the Federal Reserve number 148, and the further federal government has moved funding partnerships with provincial control begin. In recent court hearings, it has been brought forward. Blood Tribe Councillor Dorothy First Rider was addressed by a federal court judge as to if she has informed the Blood Tribe memberships had been notified that we have been transitioning into Canada's self-government process. Further to the court, a judge addresses to a letter of Crown Indigenous Relations and Northern Affairs, and have not yet to consult with the Blood Tribe memberships for the ratification vote to accept the change, and the Blood Tribe concerns are breach of fiduciary duties, constructive fraud, theft, conversion of Blood Tribe assets, unjust enrichments, and or equitable disgorgement and restitutions. Here's a letter that I'll just read just briefly, wrote from Andrew Luth. This is from Andrew Luth. It was sent November 23rd, 2022. And then it says, "Hello, Mr. Prairie Chicken and Mr. Fox. I work with Stephen Cohan, and he has asked me to acknowledge receipt of your letter. Both emails have been received, and there are many details to go through and consider. While I think your concerns might be most directly addressed by the Blood Tribe administration, I can assure you that self-determination discussions do take a long time, and that any potential final agreement would need to be ratified in a vote by the First Nation members. Best Andrew Luth, negotiator of Crown Indigenous Relations and Northern Affairs. So that's from the horse's mouth of the government. So the Blood Tribe Advocacy Group, just our opinion, we think it may also be helpful in addition to the above is to use this time with Blood Tribe members to gain support for a change of leadership. And if you run for chief and council, or to find as well other nominees that may want to run for council, continue to bring forward and let as many members know the fact that there is no transparency and how the financial documents are not shared with band members. As we discussed, band members should have the right to see where the money is being made from, partnerships, corporations, etc., is going and what they are being used for. Band members should have the right to vote on this as well. For members that do not have computers and cannot get to the band office post to vote, what is in place for them to ensure that they have a voice and a vote? Can they mail their votes in or transportation is provided? Who is benefiting from these corporations and partnerships from resources that are Blood Tribe resources? There needs to be accountability measures in place like consultation and band members process, maybe something to continue to address and make members aware as mentioned above. The Blood Tribe membership has the right and should be consulted by Chief and Council on decisions being made that affect every Blood Tribe member on the Blood Reserve. This discussion should be documented in what Blood Tribe membership believe. This should look like and how it will ensure it includes to every Blood Tribe member to be consulted and have a voice. Furthermore, what measures are or should be in place if Chief and Council members make decisions without consulting memberships? We are the tribal members electing Chief and Council. For example, the Band Customs Election Bylaw, Section 10.06, has to be revisited for transparency and accountability by Chief and Council, and the Blood Tribe membership vote to accept or not to accept the Band Customs Bylaw. Or members have a voice, possibly with outside bonded election officers, independent of other treaties, 7 First Nations, Band, Siksika Nation, Piikani Nations, independent of the Blood Tribe and Council, lawyers, advisors, and Kainai government. The people will have to wake up and to realize that we have rights. Our leadership in the federal government and provincial government, for some it's just too vast to understand what's happening out there. But the bottom line of it is they are distinguishing our treaty rights. We have rights, and at the same time, just like in that saying of the treaty, as long as the grass grows, it's our children growing up. As long as the rivers flow, it's not the rivers of the flowing of rivers of like the Belly River. Remember, it means when the woman gives birth and her water breaks, that is the river of life. That's how strong the Peace Pipe Treaty is. And at the same time, the end result of this, if self-government is what Blood Tribe members vote on and want, I think from our discussions, there needs to be many policies put in place that protect the rights of the Blood Tribe members, as well as to ensure there will be transparency to ensure every single member has a voice and a vote. The Blood Tribe Advocacy Group commends all Blood Tribe members for all your efforts and all you are doing to bring this information forward, to raise awareness with as many members that will listen. This is so important for change, for accountability and transparency for Blood Tribe Ganawa. So at that note, and I think I really, actually didn't be for you guys listening to us and giving our presentation. So if there's any questions, Eugene, shall we open the